Barry Sports Show. I'm your host, Tyler, and I'm going to be talking about the my Week 7 early DFS plays on FanDuel. If you like this content, please like, subscribe, share with your friends. We'd really appreciate it, and thank you for watching. So let's go ahead and get into it. So I'm going to talk about quarterbacks here. So my first favorite play this week. Now, obviously, if you want to pay up for some of the top guys, I'm not going to go that much into it. I do think that, especially Kyler Murray, he hasn't been very efficient in terms of passing, but just his rushing potential is just so good. But I'm going to talk about my first play here, and that's Justin Herbert. So he's my favorite play currently at the quarterback position. Plays against Jacksonville. I kind of talked about this last week. Jacksonville is terrible against the pass. They've given up, well, I guess before Stafford, 300-yard passers in every single game, except Ryan Fitzpatrick, who they got dominated by, and he didn't have to throw it a lot. Stafford, they ran the ball a lot on them. So Justin Herbert, it does worry me a little bit about his upside here, just because they can get run on so easily. They're terrible against the pass and also on the ground. So I like Justin Herbert here. I do think he's a decent play at 7,500 on FanDuel here. So I like him this week. Let's go to the next one. Now, this is my favorite play at quarterback, is Matthew Stafford. Number one, because I think he burned a lot of people last week due to his good matchup. So I think a lot of people aren't going to be playing him this week. So right now goes against Atlanta, who's given up already 2,000 yards passing already on the season. Over 2,000 yards passing. They have, 18 touchdowns. Their run defense isn't that bad, honestly, so I don't think Detroit's going to have as much success as they did last week on the ground because they have Grady Jarrett, I believe. Is that I forget what his last name is, but he's on the defense tackle, and he's actually one of the better defensive tackles against the run in the league. So I don't think that they're going to have that much because honestly, Atlanta hasn't been that bad against the run this year. Their pass defense has been abysmal. They've been so bad. It's pretty funny. So me personally, I like Stafford, and also in this game you got plenty of stacking opportunities. You could go Kenny Galladay, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Todd Gurley's even playing on the other side. So a ton of options here. He's probably my favorite quarterback play at the position right now. Early. I got to keep looking at these projections and everything so early. And then the last one I want to talk about is Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, for me, 6,800 right now. That is so cheap on FanDuel for a guy. I mean, look at this. He has Drew Lock ahead of him, Baker Mayfield. Andy Dalton. Even Joe Burrow. That's a pretty good play there as well. But Andy Dalton's up there. I think they're expecting him to play really well, as was I, and he really didn't. So, but Teddy Bridgewater gets New Orleans, who New Orleans really hasn't been that dominant as a defense as they were last year. They were missing guys, so they get some guys back. So it'll be interesting to see if that really improves them. But I like Teddy Bridgewater here. There's plenty of stacking opportunities, so you could go. We'll talk about him in a little bit, Robbie Anderson, but you could go DJ Moore as well, Mike Davis. On the other side, you got Alvin Kamara, so a lot of good choices in this game as well. So let's go to the running back position here. So the first one, Alvin Kamara, I just talked about him, stud. He's 9,300, which is pretty expensive, but he gets Carolina, who's ranks one of the friendliest. Look at that, 32nd. Against the running back position this year. So really good matchup. My favorite one here is probably Aaron Jones, though. Gets Houston, who has given up the most rushing yards on the season. Just gave up over 200 yards to Derrick Henry. So for me, this is a team that's probably going to go in this game pissed off. They just got embarrassed against Tampa Bay. So I'd imagine Aaron Jones, he's just such a stud. I feel like he's going to have one of those monster games. So Aaron Jones, my favorite at the position. Then you got guys here in the mid-range that honestly are pretty good plays as well. Chris Carson, Mike Davis, be heavily involved. Joe Mixon, even James Conner. And then you have Kareem Hunt, who, for me, the price point right now is 7,100. I'd imagine he's probably going to be one of the highest paid or one of the highest played players of the slate at 7,100. That's just really cheap against Cincinnati, who hasn't been that good against the ground this year. And then you have Cleveland, who's one of the best run teams in the NFL. So a guy that's basically dominated. He got hurt a little bit last week and then came back in the game, but he's dominated the snaps in Cleveland. So after Chubb went out. So I just imagine this is going to be a really good play. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, also a nice play. But then let's go down here. This is what I like. Justin Jackson here, 6,100. Justin Jackson plays against Jacksonville. On Monday night, he looked like the lead back. Well, I shouldn't say lead back, but saw the most. He had 21 opportunities. I think he had 20 total touches. So this is a guy that's going to be heavily involved. Jacksonville is terrible on the ground. Just got gashed by Detroit. They're giving up, I believe, the fifth most rushing yards on the season this year. So yeah, I just think this is a good play if you want to pivot kind of from. I don't think Justin Herbert's going to be that high owned. But this is a guy that I think is just a really good play in this game. Should see plenty of opportunities and has a chance to have a really good game this week. So me personally, I like him this week. Philip Lindsay's another one. Now it depends. Where's my mouse here? There we go. Philip Lindsay. It depends on what's going on with Melvin Gordon. He's sick, but he just had a DUI. Like the whole situation kind of seems a little fishy. I don't know what's going on. So if he's going to miss again this week, I like Philip Lindsay a lot. Right now he's going against Kansas City. Kansas City's given up the third most yards on the ground this year. So he had a good week last week. When he has the opportunity, he's a guy who can put up pretty good numbers. When you watch the tape on him, he looks really good. He's got really good burst, can shoot through the hole like a cannon. Like the kid looks really good. The Melvin Gordon signing made no sense to me. But anyways, that's something else. So I like him as well, 6,000. And then the last one I'm going to talk about here is, well, I guess two really quick. I still believe in Antonio Gibson. I still believe in you. Plays Dallas, second worst rush defense, giving up the second most yards on the ground this year. I believe in you, Antonio Gibson. This is the week, and then you can't really use him after that. But I believe in you. And the last one here, Jerick McKinnon. I'd imagine as the week goes on, more people will realize that he's 5,500, just really cheap. And when Mostert didn't play last against Philadelphia, Jerick McKinnon saw 92% of the snaps. I'd imagine he's going to be maybe not that high. Maybe Jeff Wilson gets a little bit more involved, but I think Jerick McKinnon will dominate the snaps. It's going against New England, who just gave up over 100 yards to Philip Lindsay. This isn't the old New England defense. This is a New England defense that really hasn't played that well this year, honestly. Maybe this is a game. They played pretty well against Kansas City, but they just got beat by Denver. I mean, what do you take from that? Me personally, I think Jared McKinnon's just a really good value play here at 5,500, easy. And then let's go to the wide receiver position. So obviously, if you want to play your studs, this is just more of like deeper looks if you want to be able to fit some of these guys in your lineups that I think are going to be solid value plays. So Kenny Galladay is my favorite one here, 7,600. Had a good week last week. I don't need to talk about it that much more. Atlanta is the worst pass defense in the NFL. So Kenny Galladay stacked with Matthew Stafford. Stephon Diggs, yes, he plays. The only thing that worries me about this game is this game gets to be a blowout. Um, and he doesn't get that much opportunity. But Josh Allen's favorite target, like he's forcing the ball. Like if you go and watch some of these games, he's forcing the ball. Obviously, from a real life football perspective, that's not good. But from a fantasy standpoint, geez, I couldn't say it. Fantasy standpoint, yes, I like Stephon Diggs a lot. Then you have, these two. The Seattle, which I don't know what to really make of the Arizona defense. I don't want to say that they're good, but they've been playing well. Maybe I don't know. I'm not going to really talk about them that much. Keenan Allen, another play, 7,000. I like a lot. The only worry that I have is this game. They rush the ball a lot. They don't do as much as they can do through the air, but we'll see. It depends on DJ Chark because he had a ton of targets this week, but didn't really do that well. So I just feel like when he's not healthy, this team looks like a completely different team. They look pretty bad offensively. So for me, I feel like this is going to be another bad game where Jacksonville doesn't really get anything going and the Chargers come out and kind of beat them up a little bit. So that's the only thing that kind of I'm hesitant about, but it's an ideal matchup. Let's go down. Robbie Anderson, 6,400. Love it. Jamison Crowder, 6,300. These are two guys that I definitely see myself getting to. Robbie Anderson, he did get out targeted the first time since week 2 last week. It was a tough matchup against Chicago. So, like I talked about Teddy Bridgewater, I just don't think New Orleans defense has been very good this year. And I think this is a good opportunity for especially the passing game in Carolina to do some work because I'd imagine they'll probably be down a little bit, so they'll have to pass the ball. So I like them this week. And then if you want a guy, well, T. Higgins, Honestly, very cheap price point for that, 5,700. But one guy I want to talk about because I keep mentioning him so much is Tim Patrick. Tim Patrick, Drew Lock comes back, has over 100 yards, 8 targets last week, 4 catches. So Tim Patrick this week gets Kansas City, who Kansas City, they actually are pretty decent against the pass. So, but this is more of a guy that's really cheap, seeing plenty of opportunity, has played really well too the past couple of weeks. So, me personally, Tim Patrick, 5,500. If you want to, try to get someone that's cheap at the wide receiver position, him. But I'd honestly probably go up and play T Higgins because T Higgins at 5,700 is a really good price point. So, let's go over to tight ends. Really, if you're paying up, obviously these are the only 2 guys. Me personally, I'd probably go Kittle just because he's cheaper, but Travis Kelce is just a stud as well. Middle, I like Henry and Hawkinson, but if you're gonna pay down, Fertzker, is that how I don't know if that's how you actually say his name, but if Jonnu Smith's out this week, I believe he had over 100 receiving yards last week. He had a really good week last week. Yeah, 8 receptions, 113 yards. Yes, it was against Houston, this against Pittsburgh, but he's going to be somebody who's going to dominate the snaps at the tight end position against a good defense, but opportunity at 5,000, that I'll take that all day. He'd probably be my favorite. He'd probably be my play if Jonnu doesn't go. Otherwise, I can see myself paying some other positions down for pretty good value plays to be able to give to one of these guys. So me personally, I'd probably go Kelce, but well, we'll see. We'll see. It's early. It's early, right? And then defenses, really the only defense that there's 2 defenses. You can do whatever. Some people just go for the cheapest one, which, I mean, whatever. I don't really do that, but it's the Jets, and Buffalo has looked not very good these past 2 weeks. So sure, they could probably do it. They could probably be a pretty good play this week, only at 3,000. Decent. Me, Washington against Dallas. Washington's defense is actually not bad. So Dallas right now, their offensive line looks really bad. It looks really bad. They're just giving up a pretty high pressure rate, and they have nobody healthy. And I believe Zach Martin even got hurt last week. So not good. Well, this last night because it was just last night. But so not good. No thanks. Yes, in Washington, no thanks to Dallas's offense. Gosh, it looks terrible. Disappointing. So disappointing. Sorry, Dak, man, that does suck. So, and then defenses, Chargers. I like the Chargers against Jacksonville. Like I said, this team just does not look good when Chark plays, and they didn't look good last week. So that's it. Quick run through my favorite plays, early DFS plays of the week. So remember, hit that like, subscribe, share. We release new content daily. We have a website where we're going to do some articles. So if you're interested in maybe some toilet reading or whatever kind of reading you want to do, we're going to have some articles up at our website. You can find that in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and take care.